What is up guys, Mr. Basie here, and today we're doing some more Seduce Me 2. Now, before we even get started, I really want to say thank you guys for being patient, as always. I know the uploads are pretty infrequent, and I do apologize for that. If I could do it any other way, trust me I would, because I honestly, like I said, like I always say, I really love making videos, and it kills me to not freaking record and upload for you guys. I know specifically you guys, you like this series a lot, and I really like playing it, so, and just that goes with all my videos, you know, really, I just love making videos, and it's just so hard not to do them, but I've been so busy with other stuff that it's just more important right now. It's so hard to say that, but it's true, you know, so I know you guys understand, and I'm really grateful for that, but I just want to make it clear that I do still feel it warrants an apology, because I miss it. I really want to do it. It's something I personally really enjoy. I know you guys find a lot of enjoyment out of it as well, and so I'm just sorry that we both don't get what we want. But either way, we're back today playing some more Seduce Me, and obviously last time I told you guys to pick a trainer, and the overwhelming amount of people wanted to see Rabbit. Now, a fair amount did want to see Sergeant, I'm not going to lie, but a large amount of people did want to see Rabbit for an undisclosed reason. So we're going to go ahead and pick Rabbit this time around and see exactly what she will teach us. I have absolutely no clue because I've never seen Rabbit do anything really. Sergeant, I'm going to assume he's like brute force, kind of crazy, insane status. So if during that scene in the woods, you know, if they thought that we were brutal before, I'm assuming when we start training with him, it's going to be crazy. Oh my god, I miss those things. All right, here we go. I was guided to a large hall originally blocked off for Sero and Diana's training. However, because my safety became the priority, Rabbit and I were given the room to use to train and practice. As I peered into the space, I saw Rabbit face and smile at me.
There you are. Come on in.
Nice room.
Isn't it? It's perfect for what I have in mind to teach you.
There it was. My eagerness began to bounce in my chest as I grinned at Rabbit, excited. What do you plan to teach me? Rabbit giggled at me, which made me tilt my head a bit in confusion. Was what I said funny?
I plan to teach you how to properly defend yourself. To do that, I need to see what you can do with your spirit.
Great, this doesn't sound evil. I nodded and stood at attention, ready for my first lesson. Rabbit... That's definitely not the last time that's going to happen, just so you know. Rabbit nodded back to me before stepping back and pointing her staff at the ground between us. The orb on her staff began to glow a bright blue color as a large wisp snaked out from it into the air. I watched in awe as it took shape from being a simple cloud of magical smoke to being a large blue misty bear. Are you kidding? Where was this magic before? I mean, flying's cool. That was cool, okay? Shadow manipulation was cool too, alright? But freaking blue... Like, this is Bear in the Big Blue House status right here. She's fighting with Bear in the Big Blue House. She summoned him, okay? That's where he went. Right after his show, this is where he went, okay? I instantly jumped back, surprised at the roar it let loose in intimidation. Rabbit brought her staff back to her side as the bear got onto all four of its paws, growling in my direction.
This is an animal guardian.
What?
A personification of your inner strength and power. Once summoned, it will protect you with their life.
They can die? That doesn't make... See, like, that throws it all off, because then I'm going to be concerned, you know what I'm saying? I stared at the bear before me, watching it peer into my soul with its pure white eyes and pant in anger. Rabbit had a bear hiding inside of her? Well, that was shocking to say the least. As terrible as it was, I imagined her to have a rabbit spirit. That's racist. Rabbit placed her hand on her chest and nodded to me.
Focus on your spirit. Feel it try to take shape and release it.
Shoot, man, we already know mine's gonna be a wean piece. I mean, come on now. I looked down at my chest before closing my eyes and laying a hand over my heart. I had to focus on my spirit. It was strange to imagine doing so, but I attempted anyway. As I stood there, I could feel energy flow within my body, ebbing and weaving through my veins like a bloodstream. Delicious. It felt incredibly odd to feel such sensations, but I continued to focus on my soul, trying to do as Rabbit asked. At last, I latched onto a strange feeling in my chest, growing larger and larger with each breath I took. Soon, it became unbearable to keep it inside. I just pooped. I held my hand out. Gross. Feeling, just like catch the Duke. Feeling it want to be released. And watched in shock as a white and lavender mist jutted out from my palm and landed on the floor, revealing... I can pick? Oh, racism. I actually really like wolves, so I'm probably going to pick this one because I dig wolves a lot. It's probably one of my favorite animals. Lion's cool too, but I'm going to go with a wolf. It seems pretty, pretty vicious. I feel like it fits Lisa pretty good. Now that's sick, dude. Come on now. You can't even begin to tell me that's not sick. I stared wide-eyed as the mist formed into a large wolf who seemed to be as big as the bear, if not bigger. What? How the hell did that happen? How is it bigger than the bear? Unless the bear is super small, it's like a baby bear or something. Despite its form, wasn't that a character in Big Blue House as well? Despite its form being gaseous or gaseous, I don't know. Despite it being farts and ethereal, the fur that covered its body was glimmering in lavender, while its claws, bared teeth, and eyes were a pure white, compared to the bluish white of the bear. It snarled and let out a threatening howl as it pressed down on its four paws and prepared to strike its opponent. Rabbit seemed surprised as well, gripping her staff in instinctual fear. Oh, she's shitting. Before inhaling deeply and taking in the sight of my animal guardian.
Very good. Your spirit is strong.
The strength of it is all dependent upon, like, your own spiritual strength. That's pretty sick, to be honest with you. I smiled, happy to know that the size signified my power. I was shocked that I was able to match Rabbit's guardian, but the thought went away as Rabbit pointed her staff at me.
Attack!
Shit. Upon her command, the bear reared back on its hind legs and let out a large roar before charging at my guardian. I quickly followed suit. Go! What if I fucking playing Pokemon? My guardian squatted on its four limbs before pouncing off of the ground and charged forward as well. Both animals ramming their heads together and pressed against each other before the bear took a swipe at my guardian, forcing it to the side. I didn't expect to be affected by it, feeling pain hit my chest hard internally. See, I knew this wasn't healthy. What the hell happened? Did the attack on my guardian actually affect me? We're using our soul. I mean, obviously, it's gotta hurt like a bitch. I didn't get time to think on it, however. I had a bear scratch in my soul. I became open as the... You became open? Again, this doesn't sound like a healthy thing. As the bear continued to rush forward, naming me its target. Before it could reach me, however, my guardian leapt through the air and snapped its mouth around the bear's neck, causing it to fall to the side. Dang. I watched in disbelief as my guardian took the bear down, gripping its neck in its teeth and shaking violently and causing it to release a roar of pain. Rabbit, on the other hand, gripped her neck and... Oh no! Shit! Oh, damn. Rabbit! I couldn't say any more before my wolf became victim to one of the bear's claws, slamming into its body. This seems like a very dangerous form of training. We should just be like, this should be like no-touch football here. Right? This is seriously. Or what do they call it? Like tap football or some bullshit? Forcing it off with a whine. I felt a deep jab in my shoulder in the same spot where the wolf was hit, causing me to grip my arm and rub over the pain. The bear got up onto its feet, as did my guardian, and they snarled at each other, circling one another to wind up with the bear back in front of Rabbit and my guardian in front of me. I was astonished at the event, straightening up and taking in what had happened. Rabbit let out a pained smile before tapping her staff beside her.
Heal.
The bear, who was growling before, stopped and simply kept a cold eye on my guardian, remaining in place as Rabbit stepped up beside it.
This is the power of an animal guardian. They obey and protect, but they are still connected to our spirit. What pain they feel, we feel as well.
But that's not good, because then you're gonna get hurt, and then if this thing dies, which I'm assuming is a possibility, you're gone, right? I'd rather have a bear fight for me. Honestly, like if I were to fight, I'd rather have a bear or a wolf or some shit than me fight. You know what I'm saying? But still, if it dies, maybe you die too. I grimaced, calling for my guardian to stand down as well. While it seemed really cool and effective for protection, if the animal guardian became mortally wounded, the same would happen to me, or so I assumed. This is something where you raise your hand and ask the fucking teacher, because this is important, Rabbit lifted her hand and rested it on the bear, showing that the guardian had physical weight and patted over its fur.
However, we can only feel its pain. We do not bleed or die if our guardians are attacked and killed.
But then we don't have our cool shit anymore. That's a bit of a relief. Damn. Rabbit rubbed her neck and smiled at me.
I will say, Your guardian is quite strong for having never been summoned before.
Hashtag lizard truth on that one. I felt flattered that my spirit was able to impress Rabbit. I guess that was a plus towards this training. Rabbit walked forward and held her hand out to my guardian, who seemed wary at first. Hey, let her. I didn't know why I was speaking to it casually, but something felt right about it. The animal was essentially a part of me, and I could feel that it understood me regardless of what I said. The guardian calmed down and leaned its head towards Rabbit, who placed her hand on its head and ran her fingers along its fur.
Truly magnificent. I had only ever seen another guardian this large once before.
Where was that? I smirked, looking to the bear. Your own, right? Rabbit shook her head and looked to me, stopping her gesture on my animal.
No, from, Diana.
What? She can do this too? I had to stop myself from dropping my jaw. Diana was able to do this? Then again, I didn't think this kind of magic was limited to just me and Rabbit. Was any magic truly bound to only one demon type? Rabbit acknowledged my facial expression with a slight smile.
She has a very powerful guardian. I'm surprised she doesn't use it.
That's because I don't need to.
Come on. I mean, think of how ridiculous Diana would be in terms of power level, you know? That would be over 9,000, if I dare say. But seriously, like, if you were to use, I don't know what it is, but if you were to use it, you know, and then fight at Diana's level, she'd be pretty hard to beat. And two at the same time? Honestly. Rabbit and I turned our heads to see Diana by the doorway, smiling at both of us. As she walked in, she observed our animals and nodded, visually impressed. Let me know, guys, in the comments, what would you, if you had a choice? You know what? The same choices I had, okay? I had a choice between three things. By the way, if I had chosen the rabbit, are you telling me that rabbit would have just been a massive fucking rabbit, like as big as the bear, or bigger? But either way, let me know, what would you have choose? Give me your top three that you would choose to be this. Like, if this could happen to you, like, or I guess if you would have a spirit animal or whatever, choose what yours would be. And you know what? I'll open it up to more than just like right now. You know, if you want to go with dinosaurs, go with dinosaurs. If you want to go with like whatever else, do that, right? I just want to know what you guys would be. It'd be pretty interesting. Rank it from like first to last. So like, you know, 1, 2, 3. I think it'd be pretty interesting to see what all you guys would pick and see maybe I could tally it up or whatever and just see what the most common one would be. I think that'd be pretty fun to see. So let me know in the comments down below.
I assume everything is going well?
Great, actually. Look at the size of her animal guardian.
Is she going to show hers? Everyone's just going to take their freaking boobs out. Dinah walked over and sized up my animal with her eyes, nodded in agreement with Rabbit's excitement.
Quite impressive. I expect good things to come from this training.
Great. Everyone's just like checking each other out in this room, you know? Oh man, we gotta ask her what hers is. I can't imagine. Let me take a guess, okay? Totally unlikely, dragon or eagle. Eagle. It's one of those two. I don't know why. I just feel like I have a feeling. What's your animal guardian? Dinah looked over at me in slight surprise before smirking a bit and bringing up 2 fingers near her head. As she swung them to point at the wall, a purple mist flew from her fingers and spiraled into the air before landing and slowly forming into a purple and black panther. Oh, that's so sick! It snarled as it took shape and swung its gaze over the room and its inhabitants. I was in awe at its size. It was larger than Rabbit's bear, which made me wonder just how powerful Dinah was. Dinah walked over and ran her hand over its head, running her thumb over the bridge of its nose with a soft chuckle. Wait, it was larger than Rabbit's bear, but ours was bigger than Rabbit's bear, right? By a little bit.
A panther guardian and a snake familiar. How odd am I?
A snake familiar? I grew confused at what Dinah meant, but she simply smiled at me.
You don't wish for me to show you what I mean, dear. I promise you that.
You have a snake familiar? Like you just fucking ween piece, I guess? I pressed my lips together, having been denied a chance to see something new. However, if Diana put it as a threat, I had to be cautious. After all, her spirit was visually larger than mine by the size of our guardians. Damn it! Scrubbin'. As I looked to Rabbit, I was surprised to see a form of awe and envy in her eyes as she looked at Diana's animal. I guess that was why Diana was the leader of the rebellion, but why was Rabbit envious? Diana willed her guardian away, causing it to fade into the air like a cloud of smoke before turning back to me.
Well, if you don't mind, I must get back to work. There is a lot that needs to be done, and we have little time to do it.
Diana nodded to us both before turning to leave. However, Rabbit stepped forward.
Diana. May I speak to you in private later, after I have finished training her for the day?
I naturally furrowed my eyebrows. What was she wanting to talk about with Diana? Diana seemed confused as well, looking back to Rabbit but nodding nonetheless.
Of course. I'll come here when you are finished.
Thank you.
Diana gave one more nod before turning back around and leaving the room. I looked to Rabbit, curious as to what they had talked about, but if it was important to speak in private, then it was a matter I should keep my nose out of. Rabbit shook her head and smiled at me.
Well now, where were we?
Just showing off each other's, whatever. I rolled my shoulders and looked into our two animal guardians, seeing them resting on the ground, patiently waiting for us. Were these really only used for battle? I looked back to Rabbit, curious to know the answer. Hey, Rabbit.
What is it?
Are these guardians only meant for battle and defense? Rabbit shook her head and walked over to her bear, petting it softly and making a low but happy grumble escape from it. What the fuck?
Think of these creatures as friends, whom we wish to protect us. A rabbit demon such as myself would benefit greatly from a bear companion.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Wait, so does she get to pick it? Like, because I got to pick mine, but maybe that's just because of the story purpose. You'll have to let me know if she got to choose hers, or whether maybe she just summoned it and then boom, it was a bear. Both the bear and Rabbit looked at me, hoping I understood. I looked to my own animal, confused to why I was able to imagine what mine looked like. The intricacies of this magic seemed over my head, but I accepted it for now with a nod of slight understanding. Until the night, we trained furiously, using our animal guardians to show me how to use them, what commands to say, and how to conserve my energy. By the time I left, however, I was exhausted. I can only imagine. I channeled my energy forward through the hall, wanting so much to go back to the room, flop onto the bed, and sleep. However, something in my gut stopped me from moving as I approached my bedroom door. Something felt wrong. Whether it was something in the air or my natural instincts screaming at me, something was throwing me off, and I couldn't pin down why. As a pained groan escaped the room, my suspicions were confirmed. I peeked into the bedroom to see Damien curled up in the bed, gripping his head and pressing his knees into his chest. What the fuck? Just busting nuts? Damien! I rushed over and knelt by the bed, now insanely worried. What was happening with him? As I got close, however, Damien jutted his hand out, facing his palm to me in a tense position.
Stop! Don't!
Well, he's busting nuts. He's trying to concentrate. I froze in place. His face was contorted to one of extreme pain. Actually, that's not supposed to happen, so I'm assuming my hypothesis was incorrect. Gritting his teeth and crushing his eyebrows together in a tight expression of agony. I couldn't tell what was going on, but whatever it was torturing him. Damien violently shook his head, digging his fingers further into his dome piece.
Please, just stop!
Oh my god, this is like the second story in a row where the dude was being like, or he had something wrong with his, mind or something like that. Stop doing anything? He did say to stop. I don't want to get crossed off. I'll save. Let's try to help. I needed to find some way to help him. I began to think of everything I could do. Get the brothers, get Diana, get someone to heal him. I could hold him close and try and soothe him. However, the more I thought of things to do, the more Damien began to close in on himself, shaking. My eyes widened in realization. He was getting bombarded with thoughts, and I was adding to it. Wow. Okay, that didn't click for me right away, I'll be honest. At that moment, I let my mind go blank, hoping it would help calm Damien down. As I did, Damien continued to shake, but not as violently as he did before. However, a full minute passed and nothing had changed. I began to instinctively worry, but I forced the feeling in my chest and continued to let my head remain empty of thought. Damien attempted to take deep breaths, trying to calm down further, but to no avail. Oh, dude, he's about to pop. I became even more worried than before. What was I supposed to do?
Libera mente tua.
Oh my god, liberate mental tuna. The sound of Diana's voice echoed through the room, forcing me to turn around and look at her as she stood in the doorway. She stared hard at Damien, holding a hand out to him. Her fingers and palm began to glow a dark purple color, like a flame dancing over her skin. Oh shit, that's a pretty cool picture, damn! It's crazy, like you freaking Darth Sidious, man, just like electrocuting and shit. That's pretty cool. Yo, your hand, you need treatment. Your hand looks like that, you need to go to the hospital. Damien slowly rolled onto his knees on the bed, still gripping his head and growling to himself as Dinah slowly approached him, holding her hand close to his forward tilting head.
Liberamente tua.
Oh damn, she's getting really fucking intense with that liberating tuna. The flames around Diana's hand sparked, intensifying in its glow. As Damien winced and hissed out from a sting of pain, I continued to remain still, not wanting to add to the pressure in Damien's head, but confused as to what Diana was doing. Very slowly, Damien's head began to glow the same purple color before a stream of purple energy began to trickle from him towards Diana's hand. As it connected, the energy around Damien's head began to fade at last, and Damien's tense form began to relax. Diana tensed her hands and caused the flame around her skin to warp around itself, forming an orb above her palm as she turned it towards her. As it settled into a physical purple ball, she grasped it and let it shatter in her hand. Glass and blood began to trickle from her closed grip as Damien finally released a breath of air, slamming his hands down on the mattress beneath him and curling himself further over his knees. Damien? I instinctively reached over and placed my hands on his arm, feeling the cold sweat run down them from the struggle he was fighting against earlier. He was paler than before, but his face slowly melted into an expression of calm relief. I looked back at Damien, seeing her lift her hand to her mouth. Oh, I'm sorry, Diana. Seeing her lift her hand to her mouth and licking over her new wounds. That's great. That's just honestly really delicious, okay? Blood trickling down her arm, but she managed to catch most of it with her tongue. First of all, what the fuck's going on? Dinah kept her focus on her arm and hand as she replied.
I did something that his brothers should have done a long time ago. Placed a barrier on his mind.
Oh, why didn't you do that to begin with? You know, think of that, right? Why didn't you, suck all the energy away and then put a barrier in his mind so that this would have never happened? You know what I mean? He would have never known. I mean, it would have been fucked up, you know what I'm saying? But he would have never known, and I think that would have been better. I furrowed my eyebrows in confusion, not understanding what she meant. As Dinah finally looked back at me, she let out a sigh at my expression.
He can read minds, but he can't control it. However, imagine putting a bubble around his thoughts. He wouldn't be able to hear anything but his own. This is precisely what I have done.
Then what was that energy you pulled from him?
That was something that shouldn't have been there. It's nothing to be concerned about. Right, Damien?
Again, I became more confused. However, I looked up to Damien to see him looking up at Diana with almost a forced, thankful look. I could tell he was grateful for the assistance, but I could tell he was still angry with her.
However, that spell won't last forever. He'll need to maintain it using energy. But I'm sure you can provide that, correct?
Well, I was lost, but I understood what she was saying, nodding in acknowledgement. Let's ask, what did you take from Damien, bruh? I wanted to know exactly what was going on. The confusion that was going on throughout the day of Damien's well-being was too much to ignore, and I needed to sort it out. If not for him, then for my own sanity. Diana gave me a firm look, crossing her arms.
A little piece of the demon lord that has been haunting him. Happy?
Oh, shit. Same thing, huh? What? Diana shook her head and let out a sigh.
He can explain if you're that curious.
Diana then turned on her heel and walked towards the door. Before she left, however, she turned back and looked at Damien.
Be careful how much you feed. You've been without energy for too long. You'll be craving soon.
That doesn't sound good for me. Or maybe it does. With those haunting words, Dinah finally left the room as Dinah laid his head on mine. He let out a tired sigh as I looked up at him, lost as ever. Just from his expression, I could tell that he was just beyond relieved to be out of whatever torture the mind reading had forced upon him. It was something he never wanted, and yet he had to endure it for the day until Diana blocked his mind. Why she didn't do it before was beyond me, but at least he was okay now. The more I thought about it, the more a part of me began to question the situation. If Damien could block out his mind reading, then would it be possible for him to want to be a demon again? As a demon, he had many interesting abilities. Then again, it was his decision, and from what he had told me about his past, he didn't wish to relive any of it with the skin he was born in. I let the inner conflict wane as I cupped Damien's cheek, feeling him nuzzle into it. Right now, Damien needed some tender, loving care, and I needed to provide it. Are you good?
I am now.
Well, I could hear the ease drip from his voice. Gross. Making me smile. He was okay now. I slowly climbed into bed with him and wrapped my arms around his body, feeling him cuddle into my embrace, and let out a hum of joy at the feeling. It was cute to see him like this, but then again, he was cute to begin with. Another reason why I loved him. I ran my hand slowly through his hair as I let him settle down from the ordeal he went through. I could tell he was exhausted, just like I was. However, he began to speak, making me awaken enough to pay attention to him.
I've been having nightmares, too.
You just now coming to me with this after I saw you literally like freaking tweaking on the bed? You have? I looked down at Damien as he nodded and looked up at me. The dark circles under his eyes were much more prominent the closer I was to him, making me frown a bit at the sight. Still, he continued.
Some sort of shadow kept visiting me and taunting me for my choices. It would change shape every time, and just now, it only helped in making my mind-reading abilities worse.
Dang. Damien. I gave Damien a small squeeze, making him lean up and kiss my cheek before nuzzling his head into my shoulder, continuing.
I didn't want to worry you with it because I thought it was a side effect to becoming human. But I guess it was right. I was always a demon.
Poor guy, man. I frowned even further and nuzzled his head gently. It's gone now, right? There's nothing you need to worry about anymore.
I know.
Damien and I held on to each other, both settled into the situation we were under. This was a large step for us, and we had to somehow deal with this most likely after we return to the demon world. Will Damien get used to being a demon once again, or will he demand to try and become a human once more? I couldn't say for what the fuck. This sounds like one of those things where like a show is ending or something like that, like one of those super old shows. Like, will Damien get used to being a demon once again, or will he demand to try and become human once more? Find out next time on Transparent Nipples. The exhaustion that plagued us took over us at last, driving us to sleep within each other's arms. All right. I have expected the night to be uneventful, but my thoughts began to plague me, trying to disassemble all of my discoveries and everything that happened to us in my subconscious. We were in the demon world, and Damien was back to being a demon, despite that fact that he never actually became human in the first place, even though Diana said that she had done it. The dizzying cycle of confusion waved around each thought. It's not that hard to grasp, making them spin as I tried to organize and dissect them.
There's no use in trying, dear. You'll only become more confused in the end.
Diana?
Keep telling yourself that, dear. Whatever helps you sleep.
I spun around the space trying to pin down where her voice was coming from, but saw nothing but the black color of my imageless dreams greet me as I did. That's really morbid just to describe like closed eyelids. Still, Diana's voice rang out to me loud and clear, as if she were watching and speaking to me somewhere nearby. Was this only meant to confuse me more? What do you want?
What do you think, dear? I'm here to haunt you and tell you how your life is a complete mess now that Damien is back to being a demon. Oh, wait. He was never human in the first place.
Jeez. I sneered at the dark, unbelieving what I was hearing. He might as well have been. He didn't have any magic or mind reading or anything, so he was close enough.
Something tells me that you're actually happy about the turn of events, no?
What?
Think about it. Damien with his powers. He's not a boring human. He can enthrall you and use magic and protect you forever and ever without worrying about human trivialities.
I guess. I took a moment to myself, taking in what the voice proclaimed in Damien's voice, or Diana's voice. Dang, that's gonna get me a lot. While it was true that Damien and I accepted his humanity, a part of me was rather excited to see him as a demon again. I wonder why, right? I mean, I know why. I was being sarcastic. We know why she's excited. I mean, we know why, okay? It's not a secret. Maybe it was the nostalgia of meeting him as a demon, or maybe it was because it was a part of him I loved that made me happy. I couldn't tell. I'm sure it makes you happy. At my silence, the voice in the air chuckled deeply.
See? There's nothing wrong with a little demon power. What was Damien thinking?
At that moment, my mind began to cloud with agreement. What was Damien thinking? Why desire to be a human? Humans were weaker than demons, and he could do so many things now that he had a barrier around his mind reading. He didn't have to give up his powers now, and everything would be completely okay. The voice disappeared. leaving the thought of Damien engraved in my dreams. He ran through my mind as the night passed to morning the next day. Wow, so it really seems like that whatever this is really trying to turn us against Damien by kind of not really like making us doubt him, but more so trying to make us see things from I guess more of a selfish perspective rather than from his perspective. So that's pretty interesting, you know. It's kind of cool how this is going about it, where before, you know, with Matthew and all that stuff, spoiler alert if you haven't seen that one that I've done yet, but, you know, basically where, you know, he had things kind of started like taking control of him, if I remember correctly, where this is more like just like a mental torture. It's not really making him do anything. It's just kind of like messing with him. So that's pretty crazy. I'm actually kind of digging that whole concept, and we'll see where that goes. But hopefully you enjoyed. We're going to actually leave it off right here because this should be right around the time where things start to pick up and we start to find out some more about the story. But I'm really liking the mystery behind this one, and we'll see what that's all about. Again, Damien, I think, definitely was the only person that was like, first of all, wanting to be human, let alone was human, I guess, for a little bit of time. But yeah, so we'll see how that all turns out. But let me know what you thought of this episode. I mean, let me know what you're thinking of Damien's playthrough, and also, you know, what your favorite playthrough has been so far. Again, it's really hard for me to say definitively. I'd have to really think about what I would definitely consider as the best that for me personally, but there have been some ones that stand out. So maybe at the end of the series, I'll give you guys my like overview of which ones I liked the best. I think that'd be pretty cool for me to do. And then you guys could drop in the comments, you know, what you think, and like if you agree with those things, because I think I have a few that are picked out that are really good. But I haven't finished all of them yet, so I can't make a decision yet. So with that being said, definitely make sure you rate the video what you think it deserved. If you did enjoy, please consider sharing the video as well. That kind of stuff really helps me out a lot, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, or any social media really, or even word of mouth with your friends. That's really awesome too. Of course, it directly helps me as well as the entire community and is greatly appreciated. So with that being said, if you want to become a sage in training, make sure you subscribe today. And as always, this has been Mr. Basie, your favorite sage, and I'll see you in the next video.